Hello and welcome to Coffee Chats. I'm Morgan.
And I'm Sarah, and this is our unhaul.
So, since getting home from college, both of us have realized that we have problems when it comes to too many books. And we came to terms with the fact that we were going to have to part with some of them. I know that when I first started watching BookTube, I watched unhauls like all the time because I'm addicted to them. And I was like, I'll never do an unhaul. I love my books, but now I'm getting rid of like 10 or 11 books, so whatever. So first of all, I have The Notebook by Nicholas Sparks. I definitely bought this from like Goodwill or something many years ago, probably 4 or 5 years ago, thinking like, oh, I'll probably read that eventually. And I might read it eventually, but I don't really like romances. I've read like one Nicholas Sparks book. It was The Last Song. It was very good, actually. I very much enjoyed it. But I just have no inclination to read this, especially not now. So we're getting rid of it. Next, I have Matched by Ali Condi. I read this book, and it was pretty bad, honestly. I read it like during our dystopian kick, and it was not that good. And I've heard that the sequels are worse. So, don't want to read it. Again, don't want to keep it. Just gonna get rid of it.
This is a book that I read forever ago. It's called The Fire Within by Chris D. Lacey. I don't entirely remember the plot line, but it was something like he made clay dragons and then they came to life, which sounds cool, but the series got weird. They ended up like in like Iceland trying to save the
penguins!
The planet from like global warming. It was really strange. I don't think I'll ever reread it, so I'm getting rid of it.
So I have Dark Secrets 1 and Dark Secrets 2 by Elizabeth Chandler. These are like short story collections of kind of creepy stories. I won't say they're like really all that creepy, but they're kind of like paranormal stories. This is the author who wrote, I think it's called the Immortal series, which I never read. I mean, I read these both and I liked them around like 7th or 8th grade. They were fine, but I have no desire to keep them or to read them again. And they're huge, like they take up so much space, so they're going.
This is The Sight by David Clement Davies. This is another one that I read forever ago, and I only got about like halfway through. It's from the point of view of wolves, and it was boring, and I got really sick of it, so I put it away with like my bookmarks still in it, and like 4 years later, I pulled it off the shelf, and the bookmark was still in there, and I was like, I'm not finishing this.
Cool cover though.
Yeah, it's pretty.
Next, I have Magic by Angie Sage, which is the first Septimus Heap book. Sarah is kind of bummed because she loves this series. Like, she really enjoyed it a lot. But I have owned this forever. Like, it was a gift from my parents in 2nd or 3rd grade. Like, something ridiculous. And you can see, like, the pages are kind of yellowing. And yeah, I don't really think I'm gonna read it anytime soon. And Sarah owns it. Like, it's behind us. So if I ever do want to read it, I can, and it's no big deal.
I'm not sure I'm gonna lend it to you after this,
but I'm sorry. I just don't really want it taking up space anymore.
So this is a supernatural book called Nevermore. I got it as a gift in like the 10th grade for a birthday because one of my friends knew I watched Supernatural, but I don't think I'm ever gonna read it because honestly the description sounds kind of silly, and I'm not a huge fan of the show anymore, and I've never read it, and I don't think I'm going to.
Next, I have Cruel Love and Pure Sin by Kate Bryan. This is from a spin-off series from the Private series. It's called the Privilege series, and it follows a character from the Private series. And this series is way better, I thought. Like, I really loved this series. It's so cool. Minor spoilers, but the main character is like a serial killer, and I loved it. Like, oh my gosh, I loved it so much. So you're probably like, why is she getting rid of them? But I only have 2, and these are like a very random 2. I kind of think it's the 2nd and the 5th, but don't quote me on that. And I just don't want to like get the rest of them. And yeah, they're random books in the series, so I'm just gonna get rid of them.
This is 1 + 1 = Blue by MJ Auch. I picked it up at my library book sale because the cover is super cute and it's about synesthesia, which I think is a really interesting topic. But this is a middle grade book, which I didn't realize, and it's not one of those like middle grade books that adults can read. It's not good. The writing was really bad. I didn't finish it, so I'm getting rid of it.
Next I have Before I Fall by Lauren Oliver. It's probably the book in this unhaul that I would be most likely to actually read. I've owned this for like 3 or 4 years and I've just never really been inclined to pick it up. I actually think I started it once and got like maybe 50 pages in and it wasn't appealing to me. I don't really like stories that are like the Groundhog Day kind of thing. Like you relive the same thing over and over again. I didn't like Groundhog's Day very much. I didn't like Edge of Tomorrow very much just because it's boring. It gets boring to me. And this kind of has that premise. So I just decided I don't really want it anymore.
This is The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy by Douglas Adams, and if you've been watching our other videos, you might remember that I actually got this fairly recently, and I read like 20 pages, and it was just too out there for me. I didn't enjoy it, and from what I've heard, this is the most like put together of the series. So I was like, no, I'm just, it's not gonna happen.
This is Red Riding Hood, and it's like a novel version of the movie that came out like a long time ago, and I bought this around then. I don't know, I was pretty young when I bought it. I'm not inclined to read it. This is another book I think I might have started a long time ago. Yeah, I don't want it. Not at all.
This one is called Divergence by Tony Ballantyne. I have a really, really bad habit of just getting books at thrift shops when we're there because they're like 50 cents a piece and I'm like, that's such a good deal. So I bought this book because the title sounds like Divergent, which I was reading at the time, and the guy on the cover kind of looks like a Cyberman from Doctor Who, and I never read it. I'm never going to read it. I shouldn't have bought it, but so yeah, I'm getting rid of this.
This is Ink Exchange by Melissa Marr. It's the second book in the Wicked Lovely series, and I know I have the first book, and I just couldn't find it to put in this unhaul, honestly. These are fairy books. They're kind of like tied, I would say, a little bit, but these aren't as well put together, I didn't think. I wasn't super into them. I don't really know why I kept going with the series, because I did read Wicked Lovely and this, and neither of them were very good. So yeah, getting rid of it. And finally, I have Requiem by Lauren Oliver. This is the final book in the Delirium series, and it's another case of it's the only one I own in the series, and I don't really want to get the rest of the series. I didn't like it enough to invest in it, but Sarah actually owns this book and Delirium. So if I'm in the mood to reread the series, I could and get one from the library, I guess. But yeah, I mean, it's really pretty and it was a pretty good series. Like, I didn't mind it. Still getting rid of it though.
Thank you guys so much for watching our unhaul. If you want to find us some other places on the internet, there are links in the description. Bye!